country in home runs. Walters cannot make any mistakes, especially to Mateus. Oklahoma leading the entire thing, 130, which is still an unbelievable, astronomical number. But then Wichita State and Arizona State right behind them. Arkansas also has 89 home runs to tie UNC Greensboro for 4th in the country in long balls.
And not something that you were expecting to see with UNCG coming in with those power numbers, but they rock it. We asked them, what's the approach? Do you swing a different way? They just said they're aggressive. They love swinging big and they love attacking their pitches. And I love seeing players, especially hitters, that have that no fear mentality, and that is exactly what these Spartans have.
And there's something that we will see a lot from head coach Janelle Brenneman in her 9th season. She says, we like to swing a lot. We take our swings, and we are not going to be shy in the box.
No, she said something that was actually my favorite was, if you're going to swing, swing big. It's okay if you miss. Obviously, when you have 2 strikes, you have to change your approach a little bit, and that's what she's allowed them, or has taught them, is when you have a good count, have those big swings. But when you have 2 strikes, shorten up. McKenna had said they do the Spartan swing, which it's really just putting that bunt out and pulling it back to try to shorten up and go directly to the ball.
Right back to Walters, and that's an easy way for the junior to get her NCAA tournament career underway.
Now batting number 2, Delaney Cumbie.
Spartans making their 3rd NCAA tournament appearance. Were there in 2007 and then in 2018 as well. For UNCG, 7 players still on the roster for that team. We talked with a few players yesterday, including McKenna Mateus, who just grounded out, and she said, this is not the same as 2018. We feel very differently. We're not just happy to be here anymore. We expect to get our first NCAA tournament win and then maybe even get all the way to the Super Regionals.
Well, we talk so much about the power that these Spartans have, and if you take a look where the defense is playing Cumbie, they're deep, they're very back, and they're respecting the power they have in their swings. Now you can see the shortstop Cavell is playing behind the base path. Third baseman Tapia is well behind the third base as well. They know that they can hit that ball very hard, so they're allowing themselves to see that ball, be able to read it, as opposed to coming up on them hot and catching them on their heels.
0-2 on Delaney Cumbie, the junior out of Dunn, North Carolina. Done a fantastic job behind the plate. Starter since her freshman year. They love her arm. They love how tough she is. Great at blocking pitches as well. Ball and 2 strikes on the Spartan backstop.
I love that pitch that you're going to see from Walters. It's like this off-speed drop. We mentioned that she loves to throw that drop ball. She hums it in down in the zone, but she's recently learned how to throw that changeup. It's like a circle changeup that she says she brings over the side of her body. She's not sure really how it moves, but it has deceptive spin that looks like her hard drop ball.
And there is strikeout number 1 for Shelby Walters.
Well, she kind of just set me up for that off speed, but this time, instead of even allowing it drop out of the zone, she just floats it right in the middle, changes the speeds. You can see how it made Cumbie stutter with her barrel, but perfectly located, and I love that her first K of this game being on that change.
So 2 away and nobody on now for the DP, Kaylee Willis. Willis, a member of the All-Southern Conference first team. 12 homers on the year, team high 782 slugging percentage. And look at that OPS, almost 1.3. I know, Francesca, with the prolific hitter that you were when we found out we were doing the Athens Regional together, I know you looked at all the teams and looked at UNC Greensboro and saw those stats offensively, and you were kind of licking your chops, weren't you?
Well, my favorite is when we talked to Coach Brenneman of like, how do you produce so much power? And she said, we just try to keep it simple. And I thought, well, you don't typically see a lot of simple swings when you're seeing a lot of power, so how is that? And it all just came down to that approach. It came down to finding out what pitch is your pitch and just going hard at it, not hesitating. And I'm sure that's what we're going to see right now with Kaylee Willis. You got a 2-1 count. You're sitting on one pitch right now.
Now she got it, but blew it by her at 70 miles an hour. Maybe more impressive, though, for UNCG is the fact that, take a look at the strikeouts to walks. More walks than strikeouts, and they've hit 89 home runs. Fran, that's really, really difficult to do.
Difficult to do, but again, just goes back to the approach that Coach Brenneman has been teaching them. Have they been focused on this entire season is figuring out what you hit well, when to swing in those counts, and when not to swing. I mean, you saw that swing and miss that she just had 2-1. She was sitting on that lower part of the zone, and for good reason, because Walters was going to throw it there. So that's that kind of swing and miss that they're okay with. But again, 2 strikes, you got to shorten up, put it in play.
Well, right off the bat, Walters is being challenged by this lineup for the Spartans. Already the 7th pitch coming up. Mateus had a long at bat to lead things off.
And I think that's going to be a pitch that we're seeing Walters is going to throw, and she's going to throw it often. When you talk about power, you have to offset it with a changeup. You have to try to limit as many good pitches that those hitters can see and try to disrupt that timing so they're not just sitting on the hard stuff and could unload on it.
That one's on the outside corner. Ring up Kaylee Willis. A couple of strikeouts here for Shelby Walters to begin Duke's NCAA tournament appearance.
There's Shelby Walters feeling good in this first inning, getting 2 Ks with 2 changeups. Duke coming back to try to hit.
With the University in Durham, and they get a chance now to see their Blue Devils in action. And who will be in the circle to try to quell that lineup? It is Morgan Scott, a terrific sophomore who is the pitcher of the year and also freshman of the year in the Southern Conference for UNC Greensboro.
You know, someone who's a very humble pitcher in herself. She was going to predominantly throw rise, curve, screw, but she loves to work ahead with that rise ball high and tight, and then she'll expand the zone with her second best pitch, which is her curve ball. So when she's able to paint those corners and then go 1 to 2 balls out, she is effective.
For the Blue Devils, no surprise to see Deja Davis at the top of the order. Leads the team in a lot of offensive categories, dealing with a little bit of an injury, though, so she's the designated player in today's game. And there's a strike delivered by Morgan Scott to get us back underway. The Blue Devils did just as much as they needed to against Clemson in the ACC championship game. Davis, the one that scored on an RBI fielder's choice in the 6th inning. And she starts it with a bang, a hot shot single into right field.
And that's exactly what you want to see if you were Duke right now. Your leadoff batter, Davis, the spark plug, the catalyst, getting the second pitch of this game and just roping it down that line. You know, typically you see those lefty slappers try to get on, set up for your middle of the lineup, but someone like Deja Davis, she is just going to stand in, she's going to swing, and she has such a good approach to where she can get to every single ball on the plate.
Here is Giselle Tapia in the 2-hole. Thought about the bunt, Davis goes, throw down, it got away. Second baseman Palmer couldn't hold on.
And you can see Duke being very aggressive early on in this game right now. That is the 14th stolen base successfully for Davis there. And she hasn't really been stealing as of late because of that knee injury, but you can see she got a good jump and she beat that ball very easily. And you're going to see Duke with runners in scoring position early on.
Even if that ball wasn't dropped, still might have been safe using that outstanding speed. And now into scoring position right away, putting some tax on Morgan Scott's right arm. Flared out down the left field line and off of the glove of Kinser.
Yeah, that's a tough, I don't want to say error and I don't want to say mistake, because when you have someone like Tapia who's swinging from the left side, that ball is tailing away from the left fielder Kinser. So it might look like that was a mistake, but that was a really hard ball to track down because it's moving away from her running.
Yeah, a lot of side spin right there, and it does give extra life to Giselle Tapia. A sophomore from Long Beach, California, member of the ACC All-Tournament team. Originally one of Duke's highest-ranked recruits in program history, was 28th in the country. But remember, this is not a long program history. Year number 4 for the Blue Devils playing Division I ACC softball. Bunted fair, and the throw by Cumbie goes wide. Davis scores easily, down to second, not in time. Blue Devils are on the board.
I mean, Duke is wasting no time early in the bottom of the first of this inning, just putting pressure on the defense, going for the sac bunt, the 5th successful bunt for Tapia here. And she puts that pressure on, and UNCG just cannot come up with it, and they make that throwing mistake. And you hear that all the time, Alex. Just put the ball in play. Make the defense make the play. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to try to hit the home run. Just play situational offense, fundamental, and get your job done. And that's exactly what Duke just did.
Also, they know that the nerves are going to be running high for UNC Greensboro. They're only making their 3rd tournament appearance, have never even scored a run in the NCAA championship. So there's pressure on their shoulders for sure, and maybe some nerves early on as they try to settle into the regional.
I mean, you and I kind of talked about it in the open. You can't help but to have some type of nerves when you go into such a huge weekend like this. Again, there's only going to be one winner, and that winner is going to continue on to the Super Regionals. So every game means so much. It just matters because your entire season's on the line.
What a story the Duke Blue Devils are. And maybe their conference mates Clemson one-upping them a little bit in their first full season making the NCAA tournament. But to get a national seed in Marissa Young's 4th year, really impressive stuff to win an ACC championship. This is down the line in left, and this time hauled in by Kinser. No advance from Tapia, 1 away.
Now batting number 2, Jamison Cable.
Jamison Cable now with Tapia leading off of second base. Duke already in the lead here in game 1 of our Athens Regional.
That's a great pitch right there from Scott. I want her to live on that corner the rest of that game. If she can continue to paint that corner, she can try to minimize this damage and the hot shot that Duke has started off with.
All about not letting this snowball, right, Francesca, at this point?
Exactly. I mean, you set yourself in a position right now to where you have to keep that runner at second base. You have to get quick outs. That was a big out that Scott was able to get with getting Jackson out to left field. But continue to work those corners and work ahead, which what she's doing right now against Cavill.
Just missed there. First ball thrown to Jamison Cable. member of the All-ACC first team. Bit of a homecoming for her. She's from Duluth, Georgia, in the Atlanta suburbs. It's only an hour west of Athens, so you know that she's going to have some friends and family in the stands within 100% capacity, which is so great to see that we can safely do that at this point in the country. Jack Turner Stadium seating about 1,400 fans.
And Duke, the entire season, actually has never been able to play with fans in the stands. So they were really excited to allow their family members and friends to come and support them. And you know, they had said it might be at Georgia, but we're going to have some blue shirts in there.
Well, you'd bet that those stands will be even fuller once we get to our second game of the day with Georgia and Western Kentucky with the home Bulldogs in action. They've lost 7 straight, but they're looking to regain some momentum and forget about the end of the year and move on to yet another Super Regionals under Lou Harris-Champer. Cable skies it on the infield. This one playable for Maxwell, 2 away. What a job by Brooklyn Scott so far. Check that, Morgan Scott.
And those are the type of outs that Morgan Scott is used to producing. She has a lot of spin on that rise, on that curve, that up movement. So when you're seeing those fly balls to the outfield, those long pop-ups, that means those hitters are early and they're missing that ball and get that spin back up in the air. So those are good signs if you're a Spartan fan.
Big cut and a miss by Christina Foreman with Tapia still on second base. Looking to score Duke's second run here of the tournament so far. Foreman, the junior out of Tampa. Down to the count now, 0-2 to Morgan Scott. He's had a great end of the season, reaching base 11 straight games. Leads Duke with a single season record, 11 home runs, 40 runs driven in. Tops on the team in both of those power categories last year as well. And you just get the feeling here, Francesca, this is a really important batter in this game, even though we're early on, to see if Morgan Scott can work her way out of this.
And it kind of brings the momentum more like on the even playing field, because obviously Duke was able to score in this inning. They got that 1 run across the board. But if you can have Scott shut the door right now and only get away giving up that 1 run, UNCG still has momentum. They still feel good about being able to shut down this inning only by 1 run.
Wow. Morgan Scott works her way out of the jam, limiting the Blue Devils to just 1 run here in the bottom of the first inning. Let's see if her offense can help out the sophomore. When we come back into the tournament, though, Oklahoma, UCLA, they were fighting it out. A lot of pundits thinking maybe UCLA would steal the top overall seed from the Sooners. It didn't happen. We mentioned what's going on with Duke here in Athens, even though being the national seed. And 12 teams in the SEC Conference reigning supreme once again, but all 13 didn't make it for the first time since 2016. South Carolina being left out of the fun.
It's crazy, too, if you think about it. You know, South Carolina, they actually finished their season over 500. They got that 1 run in the SEC tournament that allowed them to finish over 500, but still wasn't able to make it to the tournament. Just kind of proving how tough it is to really play in that gauntlet of the SEC.
And remember, at one point, I mean, we're talking midway through the SEC season, Mississippi State was still winless in the conference. And they got through, got on a huge streak, easily made the field. So it just goes to show you, when you're in the SEC, you play some tough competition, but a lot of opportunity as well.
It's very similar to the storyline with Duke when they ran into that 7-game skid, that loss. But you want to be trending in the right direction when it comes to postseason, and that's what Mississippi State was able to do. And Duke was able to regroup and figure out some of the little nuances that they needed to iron out.
And a Kinzer stays alive.
Sorry, Alex, but we say it a lot, especially early on in the season. Who cares what happens early on in the season? You want to be moving and trending upward in postseason. That's when it matters. No one cares what your numbers are in February. They want to see what's going on in May and June.
And if you're unfamiliar, haven't been following throughout the season, the reason that Duke is not hosting, even though they're the number 13 national seed, is because there were 20 predetermined sites because of COVID by the NCAA. Duke was not one of those 20 best teams at the time. I mean, we're talking mid-April. And because of it, they didn't put in a bid. They weren't allowed to host. But they're pretty happy, to be honest with you, and talking them to be here in Athens to be playing in their first NCAA tournament. There is Kinzer Grounds right back.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Young and we said, are you okay with it? Are you upset? And she goes, no way. I've been here in Athens. My team has played here before. And don't forget, we just had to go play Clemson, a tough Clemson team at their home field. So we know what a pressure-packed stadium is like, and we know that we can rise to that challenge, whoever we're facing in Athens.
Duke also excited too because they have a handful of players that are from the state of Georgia. So a lot of friends and family will be in attendance when, again, they haven't been allowed to go to home games this year. Nothing in one on Mason Brown. One out, nobody on. They're now down in the count, 0-2.
I love that pitch right there from Walters. You know you're a tough pitcher if you're not afraid to challenge a batter, especially a lefty batter inside. She just painted that curveball, or excuse me, drop ball perfectly.
Talk about Duke being hot. Not sure any player is more than Brown. SoCon tournament most outstanding player. 5 for 10 with 2 homers, 4 runs driven in, and 4 runs scored. I think anybody would take that line. She scored at least 1 run in 8 straight games and 10 runs over that stretch. Talk about a difference maker for a team. That'll boost your WAR, that's for sure.
I love what Coach Brenman said too as well when it comes with her. She has, good lefty power gap to gap, but she has the most speed in this lineup as well. So when you go and take a look at how many stolen bases she has 0. And the whole team in general is 6 stolen bases out of 9. I mean, when you look at their stats, you're looking at power, you're looking at the doubles, you're looking at those home runs. But Mason Brown is still the fastest kid in this lineup.
Just missed there. I think, Francesca, you did either a triple or a quadruple take at the stolen base numbers when you saw them.
I needed confirmation of 6 out of 9 compared to Duke's 76 out of 96. I thought it was
And they have one more today already. Hit hard up the middle, snared by Foreman, and picked by Crabtree for out number 2. Sweet D right there for Duke.
That was absolutely beautiful from the second baseman, Foreman. This ball is hit hot off the barrel of Brown, and she takes that great first step so she can read the spin off of that ball and play it on the backhand hop. If she went to try to meet that ball versus taking that deeper angle, she does not field that ball cleanly.
Two outs for Jasmine Palmer. Jasmine Palmer hot as well. 6 for her last 12 with a home run. Down on the count, 0-1 to Shelby Walters, who has not allowed a base runner yet here to UNC Not being cheated, though. That's for sure. These are some big swings from the Spartans. Not being cheated, though. That's for sure. These are some big swings from the Spartans. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Look at UNC Greensboro tied with Arkansas, who you think of as a big bopping team, the most in the SEC. Spartans right there.
I like that, Alex. There's a lot of big boppers right there on that screen. And I love that you see UNCG putting those numbers up, you know, competing with those Power 5 conferences as well as Wichita State. And I was able to see them play this year. Man, that they're able to hit the ball with power, go with that long ball, because you can change the game with just one swing. You're never out of it.
Over to first and handled by Crabtree. Well, when you make your first ever NCAA tournament program, Kate, what Mike Krzyzewski has done for the Duke men's basketball program. And what a job she has. This team has taken off in the last 2 seasons. Gone a combined 65 and 14 since 2020 after going 54 and 58 in the first 2 years. She was a terrific player, but she also said, Francesca, that she wants to start being known as an amazing coach and stop having people talk about her playing career so much. And she's making a name for herself on that end as well.
Well, you stole my line, Alex. I was so pumped to say that because I loved that. I feel like every former student athlete, when they succeed in their sport and they go into the coaching world, they want people to look at them and what they're doing now. You put the past behind you and you're trying to influence the youth. You're trying to create and start this program, which she did with Duke, and bring it to the level that she has. And she doesn't care about what she's done. She cares about what she's doing for her team.
Katie Stetler, rather for UNCG. That's Kelly Torres to start things off now for Duke. And also you saw Kevin White, the athletic director for Duke, talking to the ladies as well. He's retiring on September 1st, that is, after 13 years with the school. And they announced this week that they are promoting Nina King to serve as the new athletic director, which is just so monumental. The first woman to serve as Duke's AD. But that's not the only reason. 2-2, she did go, and Kelly Torres the first victim, but also with Nina King, the third black woman to lead a Power 5 athletic department, joining Virginia's Carla Williams, and also, of course, Vanderbilt promoted Candice Story-Lee as well. And when we talked with Coach Young, she said very specifically, not that she's just so excited about having Nina King promoted and to be able to work under her, but also representation matters. And to see a person like Nina King leading a program like Duke really makes a difference, and it shows the rest of the college landscape and the rest of the world, you know, what's going on and the statement they want to make.
And exactly, and Coach Marissa Young is that same person as well. And she wants to be setting an example for her own teammates, her own players, and showing them what you can do. Being able to look up to someone, not just your coach, but also the AD, knowing that there's no ceiling, there's no limit. If I want to go and get something, I can do it. Look who's done it before me. Look who's trailblazed. Let me be there.
One out, nobody on now for Rachel Crabtree. Coach Young's team on the board first came in the first inning thanks to an error by the catcher Cumby for UNCG. We're going to have a lot of firsts here because the Spartans haven't scored a run in NCAA tournament play. Duke just scored their first in the first time that they were ever up in tournament play. It is going to be quite the fun weekend in Athens. And then you have the fact that Georgia is hosting, even though they're not the national seed. Western Kentucky has played a bunch of SEC teams really close this year. We've been looking forward to it all week and so excited that the time has finally arrived for some NCAA softball.
I mean, when you saw the reaction Duke had when they saw where they were going, where they were seated, but, you know, I had the same reaction when I got my assignment.
Skied over to third, and the running catch put away by Brown.
I mean, you just said it right there. Just so many great teams in this regional competing. A lot of great competition, well matched, very similar strengths and weaknesses. So when I saw where we were going to be able to call these games, this Athens regional, I was just as excited as these players.
The goal today for all 4 teams to stay in the winner's bracket. You get to play 2 less games in order to advance to the Super Regionals. Don't put stress on your staff, on your players. It is absolutely huge and very important for UNCG because Morgan Scott in the circle right now, I mean, she's their best chance to win. And if she is in the circle, they have a shot. But if she can't go, it becomes a little bit of a different story. So they need to keep her as fresh as humanly possible. That is smashed. Deep left field. Back, Kinser, and she gives it a look. It's gone. Caroline Jacobson leaves the yard.
Well, we know Morgan Scott loves that rise ball, but this is a rise ball that does not bite enough up. You take a look at this pitch, you see it, it is upper part of the zone, elevated. Very easy for Jacobson to get her barrel on plane and just lifts it out. She uses the power and the spin that Scott provides, and it goes right off of that scoreboard for the 6th home run for Jacobson.
First in NCAA tournament history for Duke. They get another one out of the way. And Kyla Morris, the speedy slapper in the 9-hole, swings right through it.
I mean, when you're a rise ball pitcher too, like Scott, you know you're going to give up that long ball. That's the 10th home run she's given up this season. And when you go into a regional like this, you go into postseason, you have to be clean on defense and you have to execute every single pitch because these teams are too good. They're going to take advantage of the mistakes. And so far, UNCG has made 2 mistakes and Duke has capitalized.
It hit her in the box. Demonstrative call by the home plate umpire, Cameron Ellison. That's a tough split-second call, too, with the speed of Morris. I mean, she gets out of that lefty batter's box so fast.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that was pretty close from the naked eye, but no better view than the home plate umpire. You take a look at where Kyla Morris sets up. She's that lefty slapper. She's trying to get on top of that ball. So you're going to see her go with that split grip, that space between bottom hand and top hand to try to get her barrel right on top of the ball to slap it in.
Punched out to short and handled by Maxwell, but not before Duke puts one more on the board in emphatic fashion. Caroline Jacobson.
Duke just unloading on this ball, sending the first.
Teams come in with a chance to make the Super Regionals. It is the host, Georgia and Western Kentucky, to battle after we are done, but the 13 overall seed, Duke and UNC Greensboro, locked in a good one so far. The Blue Devils asserting their might in a few different ways. Just had a solo home run by Caroline Jacobson to get Duke that 2-0 lead here as we head to the 3rd. Alex Perlman, Francesca Enea with you all weekend here from Georgia, as that one is off of the glove of Walters. What a handle by Cavo, the old 1-6-3 put out.
And you know, if Walters does not deflect this ball, this is going to be a base hit, but because she's able to deflect it, she slows the speed down of the ball, and Cavo coming over behind second base is able to get the out. It's a nice little teamwork of a play.
Yeah, a lot of times the pitcher messes up that ground ball, and it ends up being a runner on first, but that was like perfectly deflected. I wonder if they worked on that.
You really never see it that way, right?
One hop over to Tapia, 2 away as Sturgis grounds out.
Talk about momentum that Duke's grabbing. You get the run in the first inning, the home run in the second, and now you come back and get 2 quick outs on 2 pitches. That's good, just so you know, Alex.
Well, Maxwell can't swing here, right? There's no way.
No way. You have to take this pitch, no matter what. You have to take it. And sometimes the third base coach, Janelle Brenneman, is going to give her the take sign. Serene Turker.
She tried to get on the easy way.
Yeah, put the pressure on the defense, surprise them. Almost kind of look at her reaction right there as, is that really what we need to be doing right now?
That's what I was going to say. I think she looks as surprised as anybody that Maxwell tried to lay one down. Walters has delivered first pitch strike to 8 of the 9 hitters that she's seen so far. That's a pretty good reason that nobody has reached so far.
And especially, too, when you talk about UNC Greensboro game plan, offensive game plan, they're aggressive. They're always swinging at that first pitch. But when it's not working for you, you have to make those in-game adjustments and try to set up with something that you're sitting on. Like even right there, that's a great pitch from Shelby Walters. She is right inside that plate, paints it perfectly. But if you're Maxwell, you don't need to swing at that pitch. That's a pitch that you're going to jam yourself with. Now with 2 strikes, you're going to have to.
Over to third. Now it's Cable in the hole. Yes, ma'am. No. Oh, I thought she beat it out. Wow. Cable just missed a beauty and a potential web jam over there at short. I don't know. I'll have to see that one again.
Well, we've said the Duke defense is playing deep and playing back, and Maxwell hits this hard. Tapia deflects it, and the strong arm all the way from the 5-6 hole, and I do think that throw beats her. But my question is, does the first baseman Crabtree keep her foot on the bag? From that angle, it almost might have looked like her foot kind of came off to the side of it. I'm not positive. All in all, that's such a great play. Knowing that you have the pressure on you to make that strong throw, and let's see right here if her foot is on it.
I think it's
kind of tough to tell.
It's hard. It's hard to see there.
Yeah, it almost looks like there's gap.
Maybe you get a better angle here. That's too hard. I mean, we do know that the ball beat her. That definitely happened. The only question is, if the foot was on the base. Just to make that a play by Cable is unbelievable almost. I mean,
unbelievable.
Deflecting off of Tapia's glove, and then she's deep in the shortstop hole and still gets enough on it.
I was hoping
infield single.
That was going to be the second time that inning that she got the assist from a player.
Yeah, how many 1-6-3s and then 5-6-3s have there been? This one hit hard off of the glove of Crabtree. Maxwell's going to third, and it's second and third now with 2 away. UNC Greensboro has something in the works.
And they're saying, don't count us out yet. Duke might have put those 2 runs on the board, but we're still here for a reason. We can still put our own pressure on the defense. And now they're sitting on those pitchers that Walters is leaving up in the zone, able to go the other way with it, just slaps it down that first base line. And Crabtree playing deep cannot come up because of the spin that was put on it from Maxwell. You can see Coach Brenneman holding her up at third base. Got a little 2-out rally starting right here for Greensboro.
And the tying runs in scoring position for Delaney Cumbie, who struck out her first time. Cumbie, one of those few Spartans actually struggling at the end of the year. 2 for her last 15. Up in a big spot. So Maxwell on third, Mateus on second. Really good speed on the base paths, even for a team that doesn't have a ton of it. Well, Francesca, the first pressure moments here for Shelby Walters and Duke.
And no doubt about it, runners at second and third. Your players getting, or the batters are getting on top of your pitches and putting them into play. And this is what I love about Greensboro. You know, Coach Brenneman had said, we might strike out our first at bat, but that's not going to happen our second time through because we know how to make those in-game adjustments. We've been focusing a lot on that this season, talking about communication all the way through the lineup. What did you see? What's the adjustment we need to make? And we're seeing that so far. You know, Maxwell gets his single, Mateus follows up. Now can Cumbie deliver with runners in scoring position?
Well, Walters is just one strike away.
You see Coach Young calling timeout to go talk to her pitcher. And really right here, you're not talking about a game plan. You're not trying to do anything fancy. You can even see she's smiling right there. You're just trying to settle those nerves. You know, again, this is the first time this is a possibility for them to win their first regional game in the season. So you want to try to make sure the moment doesn't get too big and you slow it down and remind your team it's just softball. Let's go in with that quality pitch and get this last out.
I know Marissa wants to be known more for her coaching than her playing, but I mean, you can't have a much better pitching coach with those kinds of accolades. 3-time All-American at Michigan and the 2003 Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah, so she knows a little something.
Just a touch of softball, yeah. All right, count runs full, and well, that's important because you really don't want to load the bases for Kaylee Willis on deck. Willis is hitting .370 with runners in scoring position, so not the one Walters wants to face. Try to get Cumbie here, who's been scuffling as of late. Uses her defense, and Foreman gets Walters out of it. UNC Greensboro threatened. Couldn't get anything across
for her, and that is how Duke has got this early 2-0 lead. And they're going to try to do the same thing again with having Dejae Davis on the top of this lineup.
Davis, Tapia, Jackson to start things off against the SoCon Pitcher of the Year, Morgan Scott. Both teams are making their NCAA tournament hopes alive with their first win ever. Neither has gotten one yet. Duke making their first ever tournament appearance. It's the third for UNC Greensboro. There is no more exciting time than game one of the NCAA softball regionals because it means everyone is still alive. Nobody has a loss on their record yet. Everybody thinks that the dream is going to happen. It'll only happen for 1 out of 64, and we are just at the beginning of finding out who raises the trophy when it's all said and done. UCLA looking for the repeat. Oklahoma will have something to say about it. You know that. And then there are plenty of other teams right there in the mix. Duke, one of them.
I think you said it best at the beginning of this game, Alex. 64 teams and 64 dreams. I want that on a shirt. That's great.
That is good, but I can't take credit for it. It was originally the great Beth Mowins on the NCAA selection show.
Oh, she is quite fabulous. Love me some Beth Mowins. That actually makes a little bit more sense to me now.
Right, there's no way I was capable of that, trust me.
I mean, I kind of thought you did, though, so that just shows I have a lot of confidence in you. But, I mean, Beth Mowins, the voice of softball, college softball, just got to love her.
That's true. She's with Michelle Smith down in Gainesville, which is whoever comes out of this regional who they'll play. The winner of the Gainesville regional, they'll match up in the Supers next weekend. So we'll keep an eye on that for you all weekend. High pop, out towards deep center, and reeled in there by Mateus. The Women's College World Series returning to Oklahoma City. The action begins Thursday, June 3rd, noon Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2021 Women's College World Series, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. And Francesca, I'm sure you're with me, but the fact that we get to see a bracket this year, that we get to look forward to Oklahoma City, I mean, it just feels like a little bit of a weight lifted off of your shoulder this season.
Just feels like all is right with the world again for me. Not having college softball on TV during, last year in May. It was hard. It was so great, though, that they were able to replay some of epic Women's College World Series matchups, all the way back to the early 2000s. Got to see a young Natasha Watley. Actually got to see Arkansas's coach, blanking out on her name, but her play in the national championship. Yeah. Got to see her play behind the dish for Cal, and that was incredible because those were teams that I looked up to, grew up watching, that made me excited to want to be there. And that's what these players are playing for right now, being able to have the chance to live those dreams out. And then at this flip side, you have the young athletes that are watching these players, and they're coming up with their own dreams and their own goals. And it's so incredible that we can get all these games on TV, on ESPN network, so that we can try to capture a new player, a new young athlete for the new dream.
Yeah, it really is amazing. 2 outs now, nobody on for Cameron Jackson. And what you were just saying, Francesca, this week I was going back and looking through the archives, and I was watching your Gators game against Alabama. Allie Gardner walk-off grand slam in the Women's College World Series. That was a pretty special moment.
Yes, that I think that's helped me set adult life with anxiety in that moment, because you think you're going to lose, go to the losers bracket in Oklahoma City, and the next thing you know, walk-off grand slam. That's kind of what you want to happen. That's how the story should go for your team. But before you can even think about OKC, you got to get through this regional first.
What a comeback performance there by Morgan Scott. 1, 2, 3, go the Blue Devils. And we will ask about her performance to her coach, Janelle Brenneman, when we come back to Athens. And welcome back here to Athens, Georgia. We are joined by the head coach of UNC Greensboro, Janelle Brenneman. And Janelle, you were here in 2018 as well, but everybody around your team and you yourself said this is a little bit different. It feels different. So the question is, at this point,
nothing. There's
I think we're just having some technical difficulties with Coach Brenneman and her microphone there. Okay, so we'll get back to Coach Brenneman.
I was kind of hoping that was her answer, though, to your question of nothing's happening here, Alex.
No difference. Oh, you got us, Coach. Okay. I wanted to ask you, though, coming in 2018, you were here as well. You felt like it would be different this year. Does it feel different down in the dugout?
Oh, absolutely. I think we're taking aggressive, good swings. Duke's made a couple nice plays on defense, but I like our approach. We are 1 or 2 swings away from tying this ball game up. So I feel like the Spartans are in a good place.
Coach, thank you so much for the time.
Okay, thanks.
All right, back underway here at beautiful Jack Turner Stadium on the campus of the University of Georgia. First game of a potential 7 in the Athens Regional. But you have to stay in the winner's bracket to have the best shot. Whoever wins today will face the winner of tomorrow's game. That will be our first of the day at noon Eastern time on Saturday. And then you really have it made in the shade, because you got to lose twice after that to the same team. I mean, Francesca, you went through it at Florida. You get in the winner's bracket, it is so much easier.
No doubt about that. And that's really the mantra you tell yourself when you go into postseason. Stay in the winner's bracket, stay in the winner's bracket. You know, unfortunately, I had been in the loser's bracket twice when I went to the Women's College World Series, and it is so tough. Not just physically, but we're talking emotional and mentally as well, because you're putting everything of yourself into every moment. And by the time those games are done, those double headers, you're exhausted, and then you got to wake back up and play 2 again.
Ball and 2 strikes for the heart of the order now, due for the Spartans and Janelle Brenneman, Willis, Kinser, and Brown. Willis a strikeout on her tally so far. And I like what Coach Brenneman said there, Francesca. You know, they're getting good at bats. They were a hit away from tying the game with runners on second and third in the 3rd inning. It does feel like they really are on the cusp if they can just get that big hit against Shelby Walters. Off the fists and handled by Foreman. She's been a busy lady over at second. Has been up to every challenge so far.
I just really like the confidence that Brenneman has in her players and in her team. And when you are losing in a game, when you're down in a game, you look towards your coach to give that confidence, to exude it. Because if you feel any ounce of doubt, and then you look over to your leader and they're cheering you on saying, we got this one swing away, it rejuvenates you and it reminds you of what your plan is, and that they're 7 innings. They got 21 outs to play with.
Hannah Kinser bounced out her first time up. And Shelby Walters actually went through the first 8 hitters, didn't allow anybody on base, but then an infield single by Brooklyn Maxwell, just beating out a ground ball to short. McKenna Mateus follows up with a hard hit ground ball down the right field line, pushing runners to second and third, but with 2 outs. And then a ground out by Delaney Cumby to end the threat.
Well, I'm loving the adjustments that we've seen from the Spartans. You know, right here in the 4th inning, they started the 1st inning with 2 strikeouts. Like we said, they don't strike out a lot, but then they were able to settle down, stick to their game plan, make those in-game adjustments, and now you're seeing Kinser working a 3-0 count against Walters.
And a rare 4-pitch walk.
Sorry about that, Alex. You know, you saw Kinser. She's tall in stature. She's like 5'9", 5'11", and Walters was struggling to locate that drop ball because of the height that Kinser has. So then she thought, let me go with that 2-seam fastball because she's so tall, but that still was at the top of the zone, and to get the first walk of the game for the Spartans.
So Mason Brown, who is the hottest hitter on the Spartans, up as the tying run. And the lefty, Claire Davidson, beginning to warm now. Duke has a lot of options out of the pen. We have not seen Peyton St. George yet. She was warming, but sat down. She is really the end-of-game specialist. Was the one that finished things out against Clemson in that 1-0 win in the ACC championship game. First time the Blue Devils had ever hoisted that trophy. And I loved what Shelby Walters told Packer and Durham right after that win. I think it was the next day she was on Packer and Durham. And she said that the team felt a little slighted. Everybody talking about Florida State and Clemson heading into that tournament, not giving Duke a big chance to win it. And what do? They come out, they prove everybody wrong, and they get not only the auto bid, of course they would have been in anyway, but a national seed at the same time.
And that was really the turning point for them mentally. You know, they said they got that win against FSU, that perennial powerhouse. It let them believe how good they are.
That's in the hole, and it's 1st and 2nd. UNC Greensboro with another rally.
And they are just battling against Walters right now, just fouling off a lot of pitches. You know, we know that Walters is going to be in the zone. She pounds that lower half. And the adjustment that the Spartans are making are allowing them to get on base, getting enough barrel to find some holes.
Marissa Young does like to change it up in the circle as well, so we don't know how long we'll see Walters. Like to go as long as she's effective, but only one time in her last 5 starts, she's gone more than 5 innings. And there is Peyton St. George, big number 10, who will begin to throw in the Duke bullpen. The yin and the yang of Shelby Walters and Peyton St. George. Off the end of the bat, Cavell charges, throws on the run in time.
That's a big out for Duke right there, and a productive out if you're Greensboro. When you have a pitcher that throws those drop balls, you're just trying to feed your D with ground balls. And this is that type of ground ball that's able to get that out, able to move the runners over. So it's one of those like productive outs for both sides.
And so UNCG finds itself in the exact same position that they were in an inning ago. Second and third, 2 outs.
And you can see Walters going right back to that changeup a little bit more. That last inning, just sticking with her drop ball. And Spartans have been able to get enough of that ball to be able to get on base. And now she's trying to slow that speed up again, disrupt the timing. And I think that's a good pitch and a good call.
Marissa Young has loved the development of Shelby Walters throughout this season, calling her her best surprise. Started out as the 3rd pitcher on the depth chart and has elevated herself mostly in the mental game, and that mental game is being tested here in the last couple innings.
I know she had said she started the season off with like a little bit of a chip on her shoulder because she knew the potential she had and she knew where she wanted to be and the type of role she wanted to have within this program. And when you see the success that Peyton had, she wants to be right there with them. A lot of friendly competition between the two, and they just love supporting one another.
Got her on the changeup, and Walters all sorts of fired up as she heads to the dugout. Crisis averted once more for the National Seed Blue Devils. We will talk to the head coach of Duke, Marissa Young, when we come back. Get her thoughts on Shelby Walters' Houdini act.
Aggressive. You guys started this game out hot with Davis starting off with that single and then getting that first run in. What are you liking about your offense so far in this game?
We're doing what we do with Duke softball, which is get people on, find ways to move them over, and have productive at-bats with runners in scoring position.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Marissa Young, the architect of this Duke program. She was here a couple of years, even before they started competing. Has been able to build it her way, along with a fantastic staff underneath her. And, I mean, just to get to a national seed within the 4th season. And to be honest, we call it the 4th season, right, Francesca? This team easily could have been a national seed last year as well, but of course there was no NCAA tournament because of COVID. So it's almost like you're shortchanging the way that she has been able to catapult this program into the national landscape.
That is very true, Alex, but like they say in sports, you got to have a short-term memory, look towards the future, and she's definitely has done and continues to do amazing things in this 2021 season.
One of the hottest teams in the country right now in the Blue Devils. Winners of 15 straight, the 3rd longest win streak, active win streak in the country. James Madison, 24 games, Boston University, 18, and then Duke. They have not lost since dropping the first game against Louisville on April 16th. Over a month. The only trouble that Duke has had has been in conference. when they've gone outside it, perfect 13-0.
I don't know if you just saw that pitch, but that was a beautiful curveball. You see Scott pointed at her catcher Cumbie on that one. You just saw that spin right out of the hand from Scott. And it had that almost upward movement too. That's tough for a batter to make an adjustment on it.
Jamison Cavell just getting a piece of that. It's 4, 5, and 6 for the Blue Devils. Trying to add to their 2-0 lead. A run in the first, a run in the second. They were held off the scoreboard by Morgan Scott, who had her best inning in the circle by far in the third. Got Davis, Tapia, and Jackson all in a row. I'm not sure so far Janelle Brenneman could ask much more from Morgan Scott, the way that she's handled these really tough Duke bats.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, she has been incredible so far and coming up with some big pitches.
There's another one. Fourth strikeout of the game there for Morgan Scott. Wow.
Just like that one right there, that changeup. This is her 4th strikeout on a changeup. All 4 have been with that pitch, and it has been devastating this game.
Don't miss a minute of the action from the NCAA Softball Regionals. We'll take you to the best live action on the 7 Innings live show on the ESPN app. You can see every game, every big moment on the road to the Women's College World Series, and it's only on the ESPN networks. I know for sure once we're done in Athens, I'm putting that right on. That is by far 7 Innings live, the best way that you can get all caught up and follow in real time what's going on at all 16 sites. Over to first, and the park holds it for Dargis, out number 2. So now 6 in a row retired by Morgan Scott, who seems to be really settling into this game, and that's exactly what the Spartans need. Keep it within striking distance. They have 89 home runs this year. So put someone on and then, go for that bloop and a blast.
And I just love the mix that Scott is throwing. I mean, that was supposed to be a curveball that missed over the plate, but able to get away with it. But when you have a pitcher who is throwing a dominant curve, a rise ball that bites, and then can throw that flip change with 2 strikes, no wonder these Blue Devil hitters are a little confused on what to swing at. She's throwing these 3 pitches to all the different quadrants and different speeds.
Yeah, Francesca, what would your approach be against Scott?
Well, as a power hitter, they're usually always trying to work ahead, either by surprising someone with the changeup first pitch or getting ahead with that first pitch strike inside to the hands and then trying to go away either with a curveball or a changeup. So it really depends on what that first pitch is. So I would always try to figure out what the predictability is of the pitcher. And if they come at me with that first hard pitch inside, I kind of know to sit and look away and let the ball travel a little bit deeper.
But then I kind of wonder, what if the first pitch is the best one that you're going to see all at bat, right? You can't just let strike 1 always go by you.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be a good hitter, you have to be able to hit in all counts. I mean, yeah, you can go out there and free swing for that first pitch, but you also be able to have to shorten up, and you have to hit those pitchers' pitches. You have to. If you want to be a successful hitter, you have to learn to hit that awesome curveball or that amazing changeup that falls off the table. If you're going to swing at a rise ball, you got to learn how to hit that rise ball and get your hands above it. But it's all about figuring out your own DNA as a batter, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how to match it up against that pitcher.
Kelly Torres, a revelation as a freshman. Took away 3-year starter Jasmine Moreno's job behind the plate and has not looked back since. Couple of hops over to second and handled by Maxwell. It's back-to-back 1-2-3 frames for Morgan Scott. Locked in now against the Blue Devils here in Athens. We cannot wait for the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational to return. Took a year off, but it is back, and I've had the pleasure of being down there calling those games. You will not find a better preseason tournament. So many great teams, such a great atmosphere for some softball. Cannot wait. We hope to see you there in February 2022.
I was going to say, Florida in February is an amazing time to visit. We're talking like mid-70s, low 80s, sunshine, the beach, get a tan.
I wonder how you would know that, Francesca.
Being a Floridian myself, I know what's up.
Melanie Dargis to start things off for UNC Greensboro, whose offense trying to help out the pitcher Morgan Scott has been great the last 2 innings and has limited this Duke offense to just 2 runs. Both programs looking for their first ever NCAA tournament win. Off the fists, and Foreman closes her glove on it in shallow right. Well, Shelby Walters having something to say about it as well. Second and third, a couple straight innings for UNC Greensboro with 2 outs, and she induced a couple of them to get out of that 3rd and 4th inning. Keep it 0 on the scoreboard for UNCG. Walters back in her home state from Cohutta, Georgia. It's a town of less than 700 people in northern Georgia. About a 3-hour drive to Athens. That's punched into right field for a base hit. Brooklyn Maxwell is 2 for 2.
I mean, we saw early on in this game a lot of big swings from Greensboro, trying to look for that launch ball, trying to get that home run out. But they've made their adjustments and they've shortened up. And the hits that they're getting have been those punch slap hits, but both sides of the field, being able to go opposite field, able to turn on it. And they're putting pressure on this Duke defense, and certainly Shelby Walters in the circle.
I mean, they've out-hit Duke 4-2.
And you
just a question of one of those, Francesca, being a home run, right? I mean, that's a huge difference in this game.
Exactly. I mean, and you hear a lot of coaches that will say, we're able to make adjustments. That's how great our team is. We can make adjustments pitch by pitch. But then to actually see it live in game, it's just a completely another ball game.
This is over to first, touched up by Crabtree. Runner advances, though, and Maxwell is into scoring position with 2 away.
Now batting number 2, Delaney Cumbia.
So can the Spartans finally break this streak that they've had runners in scoring position with 2 outs? Now the 3rd straight frame. And Maxwell leading off his 2nd.
You can see catcher Torres calls timeout to go talk to her pitcher. That's a pitch that's not really missing by much. So she's probably just trying to remind her, hey, let's bring that ball in just a little bit. See Walters giving up 4 hits, just the 1 walk, 3 Ks. All Ks coming from her changeup as well. But I love that battery work right there for the catcher Torres to go in and say, hey, that's a great pitch, great location. Umpire's not loving it, though. Let's just bring it back a little bit so we can get that called K.
I think it's so interesting also with Duke. They have so many weapons out of the bullpen that Walters knows she's got to make quality pitches or she's not going to stay in this game. And you could really argue, back in the 4th inning, even maybe the 3rd, with runners on and 2 outs, runners in scoring position, that is, that one bad pitch would have been the end of her day. But she made 2 good ones. She got outs. And she still has lived to fight a few more pitches here.
Exactly. And, but kind of playing little Blue Devil advocate here. You want to make sure, though, that you don't pull them out too soon, your pitcher out too soon, because you need to give them the confidence, and they need to work through these moments. If you're a big pitcher, if you're looking to super regionals, to OKC, you're going to have pitchers pull out of these pressure moments and come up with that big quality pitch. You want them to face that and let them know what it's like to succeed so they can do it again.
3-1 on Delaney Cumbie, who is 0 for 2, but she does have the most walks on the team so far this year. Back-to-back strikes now by Walters.
And that's, as a batter, that's how you know how confident a pitcher is with that off speed. When they need a strike and they go to it. So you know you can expect it at any count at any time, and you have to be prepared for it.
Just downstairs, and Cumbie does work that walk.
You can see the frustration at Walters after she threw that pitch because she believed that to be a strike. And that, I'm not going to lie, that was a close pitch. That was a close pitch to take as a batter. But home plate umpire has not liked that lower part of the zone. He wants her to bring it up, bring it in a little bit more. Take a look at this pitch right here where it missed. I mean, it's close, but it's just right underneath the kneecaps.
This is over to short, and Cable on the charge takes care of it. Well, it has just been a story of coming up short thus far for UNC Greensboro. Runners in scoring position the last 3 innings, and they can't get anything across against Shelby Walters and Duke. Duke right now, but the only reason is because UNC Greensboro's Morgan Scott has been holding down the Blue Devils.
Yeah, she's been extremely effective, and it's all with that changeup. 4 Ks, all with the change, going with her flip, and she's able to locate it on both sides of the plate, and that is just stunning these Blue Devils, and they're not sure what pitch to swing at.
7 straight retired by the Southern Conference Pitcher of the Year. It's the bottom of the order for the Blue Devils, starting with Rachel Crabtree. Whoever wins this game will stay in the winner's bracket and will face the winner of Western Kentucky and Georgia tomorrow at noon. Whoever loses drops into that dreaded Game 4 that is of the weekend, which is the 2 losers from day 1, and then whoever falls in that game is going home and the dream ends. We don't want to think about that yet. We're still only in Game 1 of the regionals.
Day 1 here, Alex. Let's chill a bit.
Not everything's so serious. Why so serious? Ball and a strike on Crabtree. High fly. That's to shallow left center, and the call and the catch made by Kinser.
I mean, but kind of going back, though, to what you were saying, sorry, Alex, is that when you talk about staying in the winner's bracket and you talk about being able to win that last game, just the 1 game on Sunday, typically it is the top seed who is hosting. So it is hard to try to beat a team at home twice in 1 day. So that team that's in the winner's bracket usually has all the advantage on their side, except for this regional.
It does not happen often, that's for sure. This is the first time since 2011 that a team is the national seed but not hosting. Of course, extenuating circumstances this year with COVID, but in 2011, actually, Baylor, Cal, and Oregon were national seeds, and they all ended up traveling. But it is a challenge that Marissa Young and Duke has embraced. Again, this is only their first NCAA tournament trip, so there's a little bit of a happy to be here deal going on, but only in the sense that they're happy to be in the NCAA tournament, not that they don't think they can go out here and win the entire thing.
You know, and I think especially with Duke, I'm not saying they have an underdog mentality, but they have always kind of been an underdog. So having to travel for the regional isn't shocking to them, right? It would have been crazy for them, first ever in their program history, to be able to host it. So they're not really surprised by it or taken aback.
Morgan Scott continues to fire on all cylinders, getting Caroline Jacobson to chase. And remember, she was the one that hit that solo shot just a few innings ago. Today at 3, we'll have a doubleheader for you with number 3 Pittsburgh and Wake Forest at 3 Eastern. Then it's game 2 of our series between Miami and the Louisville Cardinals. Both games right here on the ACC Network and on the ESPN app. A full day on the diamond, you would say here, starting things off. We're glad you're with us in Athens, Georgia for Duke and UNC Greensboro to begin the Athens Regional and the NCAA softball tournament. Then a couple of good baseball games following us. Glad you could join and make us a part of your Friday afternoon. Absolutely. She's Francesca Nea. I'm Alex Perlman. Beautiful day down in Athens. Sunny, a high today of 86 degrees. Little slap bunt right back to the pitcher, and the speed of Kyla Morris forces a throw away. She's on second with 2 away.
You know, I mentioned it in Morris's first at-bat. She is that chop slapper. She wants to get on top of the ball. That's why she goes with that split grip. So she has a very strong top hand so she can punch it into the ground. And that's exactly what she does. You can see that third baseman Brown is in her face, but Morris places this perfectly to the pitcher, Scott, who is hesitant to make that strong throw because of the speed that Morris is putting on Scott, that pressure. And now Duke has another runner in scoring position here.
Should be a hit by Morris and an error by the pitcher, Scott, on the throw. And now Deja Davis, who is not someone you want to face if you're Scott. Davis has had such a great career, still just a junior, member of the All-ACC first team. If she was completely healthy, Marissa Young says she's an All-American and a potential player of the year nationally. And generally the starting shortstop, but a knee injury has limited her in the field. We've seen Jamison Cable be exceptional at that position. When you talk about Deja Davis, she is one of those programs that recently you would say is Duke. I mean, she's one of those players that is Duke.
You know, we'd asked her, you know, what do you feel like has been the difference for you to up your game to the next level? And she had said, it's just understanding my strengths and my weaknesses and what to swing at. Like right there, that's a 2-0 pitch. Scott paints it perfectly on the corner, but Deja knows I don't need to swing at that. That's not what I'm looking for. She's still in a strong hitter's count right now, but you know, young Davis might swing at that.
Flare down the left field line, and Kinser collects. Morgan Scott looks awfully tough. Strikeouts, and now she will turn it over to the senior Peyton George. This is the formula that Marissa Young loves to go with. It's what they did in the ACC championship game. First 5 innings go to Shelby Walters, and then Peyton St. George, the ACC tournament MVP.
You know, St. George, you take a look, she's someone that's more in that middle velo, that 66, 67, but it is her rise ball and a 2-seam fastball that she said she's learned to just dominate so she can throw at 3 different speeds. So you're coming in with the spin of the rise, that off-speed change, and then of course with her 2-seam that comes in pretty hot, hums that baby in.
Well, Peyton St. George, 2 wins with a save in that championship game. It was a great ACC tournament for her. Look at those numbers. Practically unhittable. on the way to that tournament MVP through 2 hitless innings with 3 strikeouts to close out the ACC championship win against Clemson. And so you'd have to think everything working exactly how Marissa Young had hoped for. Get 5 strong innings from Shelby Walters, have the lead, go to Peyton St. George for the final 6 outs, ho-hum, button it up, and then head to the winner's game to start things off tomorrow. That's out towards left, but not deep, and Jackson takes it down, out number 1. I absolutely love the attitude of Peyton St. George when we had a chance to talk to her yesterday. I mean, so loose, so much fun. I mean, Duke, yes, some people might think it's a serious program, but she says there's just a whole bunch of weirdos on this team. And Peyton St. George, I think, would qualify as one of those, and she'd be happy to hear me say it.
Yeah, we had asked her, we asked them, you know, what is one thing that you want to make sure that we tell everyone about Duke softball? The one thing that you want to make sure that we hit home? And she said that we're not super serious. You know, we're not just these student athletes who study all the time. We're funny, we're goofy, and we're kind of just big weirdos. And me being a weirdo myself, I really relate to that.
As do I.
I mean, but
of course,
there's a big
great
reason
students
why.
as well, but still, you know, you gotta have some fun.
There's a big reason why those Shelby Walters and Peyton St. George complement each other so well. It obviously has to do with the chemistry that they have with one another and the fight that they have together. But you have Walters, who throws drop down in the zone, and then you have St. George, who's a rise ball pitcher up in the zone. And so Coach Marissa Young had said that she likes to take that starting pitcher out when she sees that the offense has made the adjustments on that starting pitcher. So let's change that eye level. And both of these pitchers can come in as a starter, come in as a save, and they flourish in it.
How hard is that for you as a hitter to make that quick adjustment when, I mean, you're down and you only have 6 outs left?
It's really tough. I used to always tell myself I'd get frustrated and be like, oh, come on, I just got my timing off of it. But as a hitter, you have to remind yourself, I've hit, you know, first pitch, first at-bat home runs. I've hit first at-bat doubles. So why can't I do it right now?
Tough play for St. George, but she handles it beautifully. First 2 she's faced are down.
A lot of time in this sport of softball, it's a game of failure. So you really have to play, you know, mind tricks with yourself to always try to find some type of positive, to remind yourself, I got this. Always find those wins, those little wins, those big successes that you've had so that you can carry that momentum over, so you can try to rise to that big moment.
It's up to Jasmine Palmer now, 0 for 2. Duke is 4 outs away from securing its first ever NCAA tournament win in its first ever try. Coming up after we are done, Western Kentucky and host Georgia. That should be a good one because the Hilltoppers are not going to be intimidated by anybody, the Conference USA champions. We all know Georgia scuffled at the end of the year, but it seems like they're rejuvenated. They have a renewed sense of spirit and love of the game that they've been able to get in that week of practice and just taking some time off. Some Hilltopper and Bulldog fans out there getting ready. They got to lock in just like the players. Being a fan is a big job.
You got to secure your seat too. You know, we mentioned it's hot out there, kind of climbing up to 90. I want that seat in the shade. You know, I got my SPF 50 on. I need the shade, cool water. That's the setup.
Yeah, the shade is a must. I think that's a non-negotiable at this point. Got her to chase now, 2-2. Peyton St. George, as advertised so far.
You see she's using her changeup here. This off speed that she throws just comes right out of the hand and just slows that speed down about 54, 55 when she normally hits 67 with the rise. I mean, that's a huge speed difference. You go from 67 up in at your eyes, up in at your hands, and then you're looking down at 55 low outside. It's tough as a hitter to make those adjustments. That's why, I mean, you try to practice that changeup as much as you can, but it's all about feel.
Chased. Jasmine Palmer down on strikes. It's a 1-2-3 frame for Peyton St. George, and Duke is just 3 outs away from its first ever NCAA tournament win. They'll try to add to their lead coming up.
The NCAA Softball Regionals is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
All right, we got 2 runs on the board, and here's how it happened. Just some miscues from UNCG here with that errant throw that allows Davis to score the first run, and then this huge home run from Jacobson, just tattooing it against the scoreboard here in Athens. And that had the momentum for Duke. They had that early 2-run lead. Nothing so far, but they started off hot.
And it might end up being enough at this point, even though Morgan Scott for UNC Greensboro has really held down the bats nicely. It has been missed opportunities galore for the Spartans so far. 2 for 7 with runners on base. They are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Twice got runners to second and third with 2 outs and not able to get the big hit.
I mean, anytime you go into a weekend, you go into a game, and then you highlight that we're in postseason, you have to play clean defense and you have to execute with runners in scoring position. And that's been the difference maker for UNC Greensboro, is that they've made a little too many errors and left 6 runners in scoring position.
This prolific offense held down by the combo of Shelby Walters and Peyton St. George. And this is a team that hit 89 home runs this year. They have 8 different players that have hit 8 or more, so it's up and down the lineup there's depth, but not a single run to show yet. Homer did 8 straight games as well. I mean, it's one swing of the bat that could really change it.
Exactly. You cannot count them out because it's only down by 2 runs. I used to always tell myself I felt it was okay to take a breath once you were up by 5 because the one swing couldn't get you. You had that cushion.
Oh, no, there's no way you could take a breath at this point. I mean, 1 runner gets on. If Duke doesn't score here, 1 runner on in the top of the 7th, tying run comes up.
I know this has been like a super postseason game feel, like super tight. Seeing pitchers coming out with some quality pitches with runners in scoring position.
I mean, would we have it any other way?
I mean, no, not for us. I'm sure some of the Duke fans and the UNCG fans, though, are like, come on, just make it easy for us.
But this is the NCAA tournament. I mean, this is what it's all about. These pressure moments, these pressure situations. Seasons are on the line. You've worked, again, for basically 2 years for this moment. It was 717 days since the last pitch of Oklahoma City was thrown in 2019. Smashed up the middle. Tapia leads things off with a base hit, and there's some Duke insurance on the base paths.
And that is really the hardest hit that we have seen since that Jacobson home run. The only other hit was from Kylo Morris, who slapped it single. But this time you see Tapia just barrels this ball up and is able to see middle the whole way.
Kendall Lange going to come in and pinch run, give some more speed on the base paths right now to Duke. And everybody in that Blue Devil dugout knows you put one more run across the board, it's going to feel like a few.
Especially so late in the game right now. You know, Greensboro's trying to quickly get out of this inning so they can just try to get up to bat and still fight to try to win this game. But Tapia said, no, not so fast.
Foul ball there on the bunt. And we are confirming, and it looks like it is confirmed. Lange wasn't sure. So Cameron Jackson looking for her first hit of the game. And can't get the bunt down in 2 tries.
You see the frustration from Coach Young right there. I mean, that's fundamental softball. When you are asked to get that sac bunt down, you have to get it down. That is your only job. See the ball fair, see it down, and then you can run.
Jackson spoiled that one. I'm certainly not taking for granted the atmosphere we have here in Athens so far as well. Just hearing that crowd noise, sounded like a full park. It's been a long time coming.
Almost feels like we're actually there in Athens listening to it.
Chopper, that'll go foul.
And in that last play.
Francesca, almost.
Almost. You know, and in that last play right there, it looked like they had the runner in motion. Lange was going on the pitch, and that would have been a perfect pitch to go on because a changeup was thrown by Scott. But Jackson was able to battle it through, and it went foul. But that was good, putting runners in motion on that play. And you can see right there, that is why Cumbie, the catcher, was going for that pitch out, thinking that Lange was going to be back running, trying to take 2.
Lange is 3 for 5 in stolen base attempts this year. Runner goes, throw down, and she beat it. So 4th stolen base of the year.
That's not an easy throw to make. Yeah, not an easy throw to make. If you're Cumbie back there, that ball was low. Didn't really have a strong lane.
And now she's going to run off. Did she?
Take another look. It looks like to me she's able to get her foot down. But yeah,
or did she
it
leave
almost
early?
Looks like she might have left early and they called her out.
All right, well, that's a big difference. 1 out and nobody on.
Yeah, just a reminder, you know, we're not able to be there live in game. We are calling this from monitor, so we're kind of guessing here. I'm going to assume that she left early, and that's why it was an automatic out, and that is why she is no longer on the base path.
Right, you have to wait till that ball is released to go.
Now let's see, we can look at that umpire right there by first base to see if he calls it, and you can see, yeah, she definitely leaves early.
Oh yeah, first base umpire Philip Friels was all over it. So a mistake there by the pinch runner Lange, and now Jackson cuts and misses, and Morgan Scott looks a little renewed. She was thinking, uh-oh, here we go again, but now 2 outs and nobody on.
I mean, what a huge momentum shift if you were Greensboro right now and Morgan Scott. You lead off with that big single, get that runner to leave early for that first out, and then come back with the big K on your rise ball. That's the kind of pitches and the tenacity we have seen from Morgan in this game. When her back's been up against the wall, she's been able to come up with that big pitch.
So now Jamison Cavell, who has played a flawless shortstop, looking for her first hit, has been such a huge part of this program. Cavell started all 56 games each of her first 2 seasons. She has been a stalwart this year. Cavell starting all 52 games coming into this one. And a little bit of a conversation in the circle with Morgan Scott. Just looking for one more out. So Francesca, they can get up to the plate. They have 3 to work with as both teams look for their first NCAA tournament win. We'll have the best of the ACC Rowing Championship Sunday night from 7 to 8 Eastern, and the best of the ACC Track and Field Championship. That's on Monday from 6 to 8:30 Eastern. Nobody covers the ACC in all its sports like we do. You can watch both extensive recaps right here on the ACC Network and on the ESPN app. This just game 1 of a potential 7 in Athens. Our first site, Tempe, where Arizona State was hosting, got underway yesterday. BYU in the field. And Arizona State and Virginia Tech getting through. It was chalk over there. Looking forward to the first 3-game day of the tournament today out in Tempe. We'll be doing that tomorrow along with the other 15 sites. And then crown a champion on Sunday. Lost Cavell. She's on with 2 away.
I mean, if you're a college softball fan, I hope you put in some PTO for today. I hope you took some off the time from work so that you can just relax and watch all the softball you should watch.
If you're one of those people still working from home, there's got to be a TV somewhere. Computer, phone, tablet, a lot of options.
No excuses, no excuses. Turn on the game.
Throw almost goes into center field there, but it is a stolen base for Cavell, who is really the fastest player on this team.
And you're kind of seeing the game plan for the Dukes this regional is that if they're going to get a runner on first base, they're going to use their speed and they're going to put runners in motion. You saw Cumbie framed that pitch just a little bit longer than she should have, and that second really took it away from trying to make a strong attempt to second base.
And a pop up to first handled by Dargis. 3 more outs remaining for UNC Greensboro. They need 2 to keep us going in Athens, Georgia. NCAA Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. Let's go to the top half of the 7th inning. Last licks coming up for UNC Greensboro, who have had plenty of opportunities. Back in the 3rd, Brooklyn Maxwell beats out this infield single to throw by Cavell. Maybe just a little bit late, maybe the first baseman off the bag, but then McKenna Mateus put one over into right field to make it 2nd and 3rd. Ground ball got him out of the inning. Then the very next one, that sent into right field. A walk as well to Delaney Cumbie, but then bouncer by Kaylee Willis, handled by Cavell. And once again, back-to-back innings, 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. They could not get the run in. UNC Greensboro has left 6 on base, and Peyton St. George needs 3 more outs to give Duke a potential first ever NCAA tournament win. Not prolific offensive numbers, that's for sure for Duke, but it might not matter if they can just keep the Spartans off the scoreboard. Shelby Walters started 5 shutout frames. They have combined now for a 4-hit could-be shutout if St. George can close the door.
See, Walters fell behind Katie Stetler there. It was 2-0, then she came back with that curveball to get that first pitch strike. And as a batter, when you have a 2-0 count, 3-1, you want to see what the go-to pitch is so you can sit on it. You kind of store that information. You say, okay, when she needs a strike, she wants that curveball. So the next time, or if you're on the bench looking at that, you know what that go-to pitch is so you can attack it if you're in that position.
Katie Stetler swings and drives it down the left field line. Foul ground, hauled in by Jackson for out number 1.
Yeah, right off of the bat, that kind of looked like it was going to go deep, but those are the kind of outs that Peyton St. George produces because of that rise ball. So you're going to see a lot of those types of swings and misses, like are not barreling up properly because that last-minute late break.
Melanie Dargis now the number 8 hitter for UNC Greensboro. They are also looking for their first tournament win, as well as their first NCAA tournament run, which we have not seen yet. Reminder, second game of the day, Western Kentucky and Georgia, right from Jack Turner Stadium. Looking forward to that one as well, with the host Bulldogs going up against the Hilltoppers, the champions of the Conference USA. Up into the attic that time, 1-2. Dargis looking for her first hit.
Peyton St. George with those last 2 pitches didn't necessarily have the right grip that she went on it, didn't have the right release. You kind of saw her flicking her wrist afterwards. Very uncharacteristic of her.
Got her on the change from just about 70 miles an hour to 54, and Duke is 1 out away from its first tournament win.
And that's what makes St. George so good. She went with her rise, then the 2-seam fastball, but gets the out with the changeup. That would have been ball 4, so you think, why swing? But so deceptive in the spin as well as the change of speeds.
Just looking for yet another first this year. It has been a record-breaking season in so many ways for Marissa Young and the Duke Blue Devils. They won the ACC Tournament Championship for the first time, reeled off a 20-game win streak. They're looking for their 16th win in a row, the 3rd longest win streak right now active in the country. This is over to third, handled by Tapia, and that'll do it. The Duke Blue Devils have won their first NCAA tournament game in program history.
Just a lot of firsts for this Duke program this season, but being able to get their first tournament win is huge, and the type of momentum that they needed early on in this tournament so they can continue to keep that win streak up. And you just have to put your hats off to Duke for being able to come out top